Friday night lights. We had the Knights definitely show probably the worst half of footy I've seen in that second half. That was just tough viewing from a fantasy perspective as well. Just the amount of errors, and it was usually to one of our players, especially if you owned sort of 3, 4, 5, which some people did. Thankfully, the purchase of Lucas was great. I thought Tino on the other side was spectacular. You got Phil Sami with a 72 there. And of course, I sold Brimson. Always how it works, the old double following the selling. But yeah, look, can't complain too much. He is one of those guys that does score tries, but my whole thing, and it's actually become laughable this year. And you'll notice on year to year that these kind of things might happen to you. Is that one year you sell a guy and he gets a HIA, or he goes for 10 or gets a 20 or something like that. And then the other years you sell a guy and they go 60 plus every single time. And that's happened with, Metcalf in round 2. Definitely had, Toyas last week for the 98. We had Brimson this week for the 64. And I'm sure there's others that I haven't gone back and looked at, but it's actually becoming a bit of a meme in the private group that whoever I sell, they're going to buy, or they're definitely going to hold in their side. So that's what happened with Brimson. Could have held the one more week, but I've just been getting sick of owning him at the moment. And I think for the week that he got his highest score, I had him in my emergencies, and then his actual high score here of 64, you sell him. So sometimes the luck doesn't roll your way, and other years it does. I would say a couple of years ago when I came 101st, you ride that little bit of luck there, but that was the fun one there. So Tino 73 in 70 minutes was spectacular. He had Sami there, the 72. Tino 58.8 average now, and he's priced only at like 53, 54. So a cracking game there for him. Will push off to Origin and becomes a little bit more irrelevant. But as a guy you could hold, I think that they need him to play and back up most games. So I think you'll see how many minutes he does play for the Maroons, and then probably decide after that. I would definitely be holding through that first bit. But Lucas 69 with that try early, just the 2 missed tackles. No offloads or anything in this game as well. So a really nice one for him to kick off. A lot of people buying him in the top 1,000, but not like fully. There was less than 50% that bought him, and he wasn't owned by a heap up until last week. There was probably 20s or something max. I haven't actually looked yet, but yeah, a good little number there. I might as well check while we're here, and keep rolling while that's loading. So Kelly 67 as well on that left hand side. A much better game there from that left hand side with him. And AKP getting 61, and then Brimson getting 64. So there was plenty of work down their side. They got plenty of love down there as well in the attack, and also the defensive side with Kelly making 17, Brimson making 26. JC, the ultimate accumulator he is. 4 goals in this one. Had that 1 line break and the try assist in there as well. Good run meters, 109. Gets the offload, has tackle breaks, and picked up 384 kick meters. So he's someone that I definitely think is an option from next week. He's the best in his position. He's pretty close to the best in the half position as well. So yes, he misses round 12, but he becomes a very important figure in a lot of our sides, and he should be someone that you do look at targeting, whether it's next week for Isaiah Yeo could be a target man next week, or you do wait until round 13. I think either way it works out well for you, and he shouldn't go up with a 63 too much in price. He went 40 odd into 70 odd into the 63, so he's going to hang somewhere near this 800, and he's worth every penny. Got through it, was hobbling a bit at one point, looked like he copped a knock maybe to that ankle, but hopefully he's got through that, and at worst he has that round 12 buy that he can recover that little bit more. But the big news of this one was Jacob Saifidi, and I actually had him as a slightly better buy, about 55-45 I had it. A lot of people were very excited about Tavanga, and he could come out and do well, and I think he probably will. But Saifidi was the one that, you'd expect there that he'd have that 40 average in 46 to 48 minutes, but he bumped that up in the minutes there, and he actually had 172 run meters in his first stint, and then pushed more the tackling side in that second stint in the second half, and he played a lot more minutes than Leo Thompson. So that was the big news out of this one. Didn't expect the 56. I probably expected near the high 40s to 50. So if you did buy, you got that added benefit, and I hope you were able to play him or loop him in somehow. We'll talk about Leo in a sec. Fletcher Sharp there was 59. He had the try assist as well. Tackle numbers solid again. just the offloads were his biggest one there. 59 for him. Could have been a lot better given he was 44 at halftime, but yeah, we take that good score. And you can see here it's a very high-scoring game, especially through that first half. And then you had some of the Titans guys really step up in the second period there and continue on from that really good work. So Fletcher Sharp, a great buy, averaging 57 for the year is awesome and pretty crazy to think, given, he played a little bit of fullback and then wing last year, and he's really taken this role in his stride and is doing a good job, apart from this team being an absolute basket case right now in winning games. And yeah, it's obviously Ponga holds the keys there. We had some good contributions and good run meters from guys like Saifidi and Leo Thompson working hard early. Frizzell as well. But I also think they used a few of those guys too much. Like, you had 3-on-3s down that left-hand side, even sometimes on the right, but it was more, seemed to be when they pushed it to the left, they'd have 2 or 3 hit-ups in their half. They'd get it to sort of 30 out, and then Frizzell would get it on the left-hand, close to the left-hand edge, and he just tuck it on the arm and run. I was like, that was the time. You got your couple of, good runs through the middle, then swing it left. When you got 3-on-3s with Best, Sharp, and Marju against the defensive lineup that you've got with Campbell, and was missing tackles. He missed 2 early. A few of the times there he actually didn't get credit a miss, but he got run over, tackled and fell back, like you saw with Sullivan last night. So yeah, that was really weird to me as a viewer there. Obviously owning guys on the left as well, but they are your best attacking weapons, especially when Ponga's not playing great. Get early ball to Brabham Best. You saw there, as soon as they gave him early ball, it took like 30 minutes. They went through untouched. He got 1-on-1 with the defender, drew 2, offloaded. Well, just got the ball away before being touched to not get that 4 points. And then Marzu goes through and passes it back on the inside for Sharp, and it's a try. Like, first time they did it. So yeah, that was a weird one. Fort Waker back-to-back, good scores, but not relevant for us. We have Kaipi's Paul with a 45 there. He actually improved a lot in the second half, picked up 28 points after being on 17. So good to see here. No attacking stats at all. A couple of negatives. He was still able to manage 45. But if you bought this week, frustrating. He should bounce back and return to some good form. You saw Beaufort Moore in a 42 in this one. So very similar situation to have a lower score than what they have been producing. But he was due that after all the attacking stats that he has been providing. Him in defense, though, he's so tough, man. No one gets through 1-on-1 with Bo, so that was very impressive. But just the tackle numbers for him at 28 was a little bit low. Everything else was really, really good. Gagai, 32 in the end, was rough. He got a big down date, and so did Leo Thompson. So Thompson was 37, and Gagai was 40. I don't know how he didn't get that try assist, to be honest, either. Like, he did all the work to get back, create that space, and put your man through there to go along and score. Who was it? Lucas? No. Where is the try scorer? Well, they pull it back. What am I looking at? Oh, Croker. Yeah, he sent Croker through, obviously broke a couple of tackles, but he created that line break and didn't get credited with it at all, which was tough in my opinion. Just got the line break assist, it looks like. But 4 tackle breaks for him, made good tackles. Just, not getting the offloads and not getting any attacking stats on that right. But the team is just that garbage, and I had him as a pretty solid buy this week. And it was looking pretty good. I think it was 24 at half time. And to finish on 40 with that second half, you're like, oh, not the worst. But a down to 32 is rough. Now, Leo Thompson, 32, I think they took away that turnover tackle, which was given, and fair enough that it was just a knock-on before contact. So that made sense. But for him to only get 40 minutes and the PPM be a little bit down, that was rough. Came off in 27 minutes and came back for the last 13. So hopefully that's a big turnaround, and it wasn't just because they didn't have Saifidi there to play big minutes in a few of those games, which is where a lot of Leo Thompson's really big scores come from. We'd end up buying him in the people squad, and I actually looped him. So now that he's got 38, I'll take King Togia, sorry. I'll take his score, I think, and see what happens there. Greg the Leg, this was the frustrating one. 26 at half time, had the line break try assist, a few tackle breaks. He then had 2 errors in the second half, the missed tackle as well, and then hurt his knee. So I haven't heard anything further from that yet. He also could have been like he got hooked, but apparently off with the knee injury. That's the rough thing, and this is where you're planning for round 12 can really get hurt. because well, someone like Greg, I bought him 3 weeks ago. But if you buy guys a little bit early, sometimes you can get burnt with it, and they do end up getting injured, and then that guy you've bought recently, he ends up needing to be sold, and you're just cycling through trades, which can be frustrating. And given he was scoring well in the first half, I was excited for it, and that's a big loss, owning him in Fantasy Supercoach Dream Team as well. So, and the low score, that was tough. But there are other people here like Thompson and Furmore and these guys that had lower scores. And then Bradman Best, I had him as an option this week as well. And it turns out the team, well, we knew that they weren't great, but the team's just an absolute rubble. Give him early ball, he'll produce for you. And just, it wasn't the case in this one. 5 missed tackles was his fault, definitely. But, that and the error, not good on that one. And then Jaden Brayley, 16 for him, only getting the 28 minutes, which, has gone back down since Crossland has been back to full health. Now, the Bunnies and the Broncos there, what about that? That field goal was just absolutely elite. Congrats to him. Congrats to Bunnies fans. And then that dirty try at the end. Thank God he's not like 40% owned. If this was last year when I didn't own him, when he was on that tear of hitting 80s every week, and everyone was an owner of Latrell there, or like 60, 70%, that last try would have burnt me so hard. I knew as soon as he was about to play it, I was like, can't just let the time expire. And I think Latrell was like, come on, play it, because he knew what he was going to do. And then just the laziness from the Broncos there. Yes, they lost, but to finish it off there with that was a real sour way to finish this game after they were winning, and they should have won. This Broncos team, that's a really poor loss for them, and a really, really good win for the Bunnies, who are undermanned and understaffed, and just very, very impressive. Now, Payne Haas, back tightness after he made that big break, and he's just a freak, man. He did have the one penalty in the end, but 41 tackles, no misses, 4 tackle breaks, an offload, a line break. What a freak, and thankfully he's a non-captainer. 70 we can take. The hundreds are really tough to see when you don't captain him. Especially, I had a feeling this week he was the guy. But hopefully Terrell can go back to his 70s and 80s ways, and we at least break even or can win on that one. We just hope for no injuries is the big thing when you've got your captain done in the books. That's great when it's a decent score as well, because anything can happen in the other games. And you saw that with Haas. He had a bit of a problem with his back, but all seemed to be pretty good in the end. Now, Carrigan, 68 for him, 75 minutes in this one. So, he did take Haas off over in that 31st minute, but Carrigan mainly stayed on the whole game. And, he did all he could, to be honest. 69 in base stats, 52 tackles, 176 run meters, and didn't miss one. So, between Haas and Carrigan, 93 tackles made for no misses. 3 penalties for Pat was probably the main issue there, and one error. But he definitely worked his tail off and did everything he could. Shout out to the fella that mentioned his 8 can I buy, and yes, when he's in the edge position, he is a purchase. Now, they've changed things up a bit. Does Colin Matangi stay there? And I think that he deserves to stay in that middle. He played really, really well. We've had so many games like this last year where he'd run for 200 meters and just somehow not get a tackle break, and had one offload to ground, which was wild. So Colin Matangi, solid score. Aiken, 60 as well. These guys can both be watched and I think decided upon come round 13 there. Aiken maybe more of a priority buy if things work out for you next week. If you want to, if you are making trades and you want him as like a around 15 and 18 edge, then sweet. But just beware that he can go back to center very quickly. And Pia Kura, what about that? Back-to-back good scores for him. He's 275k. I did see a few people in the private crew did end up buying him, and not sure if they played him or just chucked him in the emergencies and used him as the cash down. Very impressive there, and he's looking so much better. So for him to go 28 tackles, 1 miss, much improved, and he's getting better and better. So showing off a little bit more of what we saw a couple of years ago now, and didn't show it at all last year, sadly. So a great score from him, and becomes potentially an option next week, although continues to go back and forth from start to bench, and did end up playing 80 minutes in this one. So I think maybe coach was happy with his output. Now, Reynolds 56 was solid. Ricky scored the try with 53 for the full game. We had Havili get a try as well for 68 minutes for 39. So it's pretty rough that type of scoring when you do get a line break try. But 8 run meters for him. So basically that one try was his run meters. Arrow went a little bit lower minutes, surprisingly enough, with Colo going massive in the center. I loved how much passion there Arrow had when Latrell had that walk off. That's so good. We have to mention that again. That field goal is just outright rude, but we know that he can do that. The freaks of the game. He's so special to watch, when he's on the trail. Now, Graham 33. Someone asked if he was an option this week. Unfortunately, this is what you're kind of gonna get. I think that right hand side attacking wise, there's a little bit there, not too much, and he's averaging 33 for the year. So I think we need to see him and the Rabbitohs humming for him to be an option. I just can't see them winning other than getting these kind of gritty wins at the moment, unfortunately. Now, Cobbo, I thought he was on like 22, and I was like, he must be on 40 odd, because every time he ran the footy back, he looked like he made a tackle break or had the odd offload. And he was on 22 at that time, so 32 all up for him was a bit of a slow one. So if you do own, you want it a little bit more, especially in, I suppose it was a lower scoring game, but he looked more involved than the score suggested. Not that the scoring's wrong or anything. He just ran for a lot of meters, and a lot of his carries were sort of 15, 20 meters and get the tackle break. So I was like, yeah, he must be scoring well, but yeah. Hubner, 31 for him, 46 minutes. He's so good to watch though. Like, yes, the point PPM was a bit down. Thankfully, I did suggest to play other guys. Like Hamish Stewart was one of them. Hamish Stewart or Hubner, and I was like, yep, Hamish Stewart I think has more upside, and yeah, showed in this one. But 31, not the end of the world. Marzu got 32, Leo Thompson got 32, so it's going to happen from some of our players. Willison came on. He looked really good in that stint off the bench. So yeah, they're changing his role up every single week. Sometimes he's starting him at 40 minutes last week, back to 25. So I wonder what's going on there. A few people asked about Talis Duncan, and this actually came to fruition. I mentioned in that, it turns out it wasn't in the buys, I did in the holds and sells because I forgot. But Duncan, we've seen that for him. He'd get like 20 odd in 40, 50 minutes, and it was like, well, PPM's gross. I definitely didn't expect 24 and 80 minutes, but he had a shocker. Errors for days. He could hardly hold on to the ball. So you're definitely going to expect better from him, but good to see him get the full 80. And I wonder if they will move Colin Matangi back or keep him there. Shibasaki with 20 and Tafi Mwale just having a shocker this year. What a call that was. What a call. Thank goodness it jumped off straight away. And then Humphreys with 19. That was the big one of this game. Unfortunately, there with, like 16 tackles was really low compared to what we've seen. 51 run meters we have seen. But, 10 in negatives, 218 kick meters when you've got Latrell. That's going to take over a lot of that, 377. 3 turnover tackles, a try saver. He was spectacular, Latrell. Won't speak too much further about his actual scoring because he's not going to stay in people's sides, I don't think, come round 12. Unless you want to have him as a bit of a point of difference that, surprisingly, with that couple of low scores, isn't too expensive. So there you go, guys. That's the 2 games to have a look at there for your Friday. And good luck with the Raiders and the Doggies one. I think I will be bringing in Tarpanay for Horse, the big red. So wish everyone luck that has big taps, and hopefully it's a massive game and a really close game. That's going to be really, really fun. So thanks, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.